When you're worried about someone judging you, what you're actually doing is judging yourself. Welcome back to the Organic Podcast. I'm your host, Reagan. In today's episode, we are going to have a short and sweet little recap of what it actually means to care about other people judging you and how you can reframe the perspective of worrying so much about other people's opinions to actually unlock a level of freedom within yourself and independence for how you want to live your own life so you can live as your most organic self, not being bogged down by worrying about what the frick some NPC online or your aunt or whoever it may be thinks of you for wanting to live as your most authentic self. Because when it comes to living freely, this is probably the biggest barrier that people will run into, especially when it comes into wanting to express themselves on a bigger scale, more authentically, on a higher level than they're used to. And it should not hold people back. It should not hold people back. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to the Organic Podcast. I'm your host, Reagan, mechanical engineer, lifelong athlete, and recovered overachiever, here to empower you to pursue your highest potential and live freely as your happiest, most organic self. Every week, we'll dive into topics ranging from personal growth, mindset hacks, psychology, and a blend of science and spirituality to give you all the tools you need to stop living on autopilot and start creating a life of freedom, meaning, and fulfillment as your most organic self. If you're ready to become the best version of yourself, then let's plant those seeds and grow. Oh my god, I'm so worried that they're going to think I'm weird. I'm so worried that if I actually put myself out there, then someone's going to think that I'm some try-hard or I want to be an influencer. Or if I want to try this new hobby, what if they think I'm strange? Oh my god, I'm worried about public speaking because someone's going to think I'm awkward. Bitch, pause. Pause. Every single thing I just said, if you've ever had a thought like that or similar, let me tell you something right now. You are the first and harshest person judging yourself before anyone else. When someone says something to you that you know intrinsically is not true, do you care that they said something false about you? It's like if someone said to me, like, wow, I hate that you have, like, I was literally going to say red, orange, or yellow, and then I was like, someone's going to fucking argue that I have one of those three color hair, but okay. If someone said to me, like, wow, your hair is so green, I hate it, I'd be like, okay, that's a really weird thing to say because that's just like not true at all, but sure, go off, pop off, king, queen, whatever. And the same thing applies to when you're worried about shit that people will say about you. The only time that you actually stress about other people's judgments is when you truly believe part of their judgment. So let's take the example of like being awkward, giving a presentation at work, at school, whatever it may be. The only reason that you're worried about someone saying like, oh, like that was so awkward or whatever, is because part of you is literally thinking to yourself like, I'm so awkward. And the fear of judgment isn't actually coming from some random external source. It's coming from thinking that someone outside of you is going to confirm this belief that you already hold within yourself, which is then going to validate it more and make it feel like, oh my god, it's true. I am really awkward. Oh my god, like, maybe I am really cringe. Maybe I shouldn't be doing whatever thing you want to be doing that you might be judged for. Are we seeing the connection here? When we're fearing judgment so much, it's because we're attaching ourselves to the idea of whatever this judgment says and reflects about ourselves. What the frick? What a lie. What a lie. I distinctly remember a moment. I was at UConn. I was on the red line. It was my senior year, and I was like just starting to get on the algorithm of personal development and self-improvement coaching and all the stuff that led me down the pipe hole that has gotten me here today. Whatever. Anyways, I distinctly remember reading the caption of this random reel that came across my feed, and it was like hard truths that you have to learn if you actually want to, I don't know, whatever, like be your next level version of self or like be your most, whatever, be authentic. Or like lies you have to stop telling yourself. And one of them was something along the lines of, you need to stop thinking that you judging other people is not you also judging yourself. I know that's a little bit of a deviation from what I just said, but it's all kind of related. Any judgment that we carry about other people is actually just a mirror for something that we judge in ourselves. Like, If you see someone doing something bold or out of pocket, out in public or something, like, or just wearing something weird, and you're like, oh my God, that's so cringe, that's so weird, it's because you would feel like you would be ostracized and judged if you were to do that thing. So, as a protective mechanism, your brain attaches whatever thing to embarrassment, to judgment, to shame, to whatever emotion's going to make you avoid doing that thing, because you already have the belief that if you did whatever thing someone outside of you is doing that you're judging them for, then you would be judged. Do we see how it's a mirror? And same thing goes for when other people are judging you and you're taking it personally. It's because you're judging yourself. So much comes back to just the self-judgment, the self-abandonment, like internal wounds and internal perspectives, taking everything personally. Guess what? Taking things personally is a recipe for freaking disaster and misery in pretty much every area of your life. And the most potent way that shows up is by judging other people and worrying about how other people judge you, because you automatically assume and take personally the thoughts of others as if it actually means something about you, that it proves like there's this actual intrinsically wrong thing within you, that there's something you need to feel shame for. Bro, that is literally fucking bullshit. That is bullshit. It is all just a lie. It's all just this mystical fucking fantasy that we're all living in our heads, but no one realizes that we're in this fucking trance because everyone's just accustomed to it. Everyone's accustomed to judging other people, putting their judgments out on everyone else, and at the same time, they're judging themselves for the same things that they judge other people for. When you see someone who is like really, really 100% themselves, like almost uncomfortably so, like so extremely visible and has no shame for it at all, that is a really triggering thing to probably a lot of people, literally me included. Like, yeah, I talk about being your most organic self, and I definitely present myself to the world on like a wider scale than most people, even though I don't have 1 million followers, even though I don't have like a bajillion listens on the podcast. But either way, I put myself out there in a way that other people usually, like most people, don't. And I'm not saying that because like, oh my God, look at me, I'm special. I'm saying that as like, I have even experienced a level of visibility that the average person doesn't put themselves in. And even still, I see people with, like hundreds, tens of thousands of followers, like actually really, really being authentic online, really being themselves, and like showing people that you can be so vulnerable and so yourself, and it's still fine, it's still safe. And like honestly, you live most in alignment when you're like that, because you're polarizing the people who are not meant for you. You're polarizing them away from you, and you're attracting in the people who are so like uniquely meant for you. But that level of visibility is uncomfortable for most people because we have this little biological robot inside of us wiring our brains, telling us that anything along the lines of being super seen or straying from the norm or like not staying in the comfort zone is something to be worried about, to feel shame about, because it will keep us outside of the group. It could do something that jeopardizes our chance of staying in the tribe and staying alive, even though we don't live in tribes and we are not cave people anymore. Like, this is literally the programming that our brain runs on. So much of it is based on like the survival instinct of acceptance. That's the core of why we judge others in the first place. Like that is the survival mechanism that judgment serves. Like, judgment is just an extension of our survival mechanism for being accepted by the group, which then keeps us alive, because we are community wired beings. But it doesn't help in the modern day when all we're doing is judging ourselves and judging others and just spewing this negativity back and forth to other people, to ourselves, and just like in this vicious loop of just like misery all the time. That is freak behavior. It sucks. It's psycho. It is not normal. It's not normal. We're not meant to live like that. We're not, like, you don't live your happiest life, most aligned to your soul's calling, to your most organic self, when all you do is judge other people. And if you are someone especially who is like super critical of others, like you catch yourself being like that, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm not saying that you're an asshole. I'm saying that is a sign that you have a struggle with self-worth. because no one with a strong sense of self-worth and self-love who like is really confident in who they are and doesn't struggle with like a insurmountable amount of insurmountable amount? What? Doesn't have an insurmountable amount? Whatever. If you don't have a lot of insecurities that like are running your life, if you're free from that, you're not going out and judging other people. You're not going out and saying shit about other people. You're not judging someone for being themselves or taking a chance or doing something that makes them more visible. You're just like, yeah, slay, go off, like you be you. Because you know that what anyone else is doing is like you're not triggered by it. Like someone else being visible doesn't signal to your brain like, oh my God, that's dangerous. If I did that, like that would be really bad. So I should judge them for doing that. Is any of this making sense? I hope that some of this is clocking, because the realization that like any external judgment, either onto you or from you onto other people, comes from you. Like you can only be triggered by things that you actually believe within some part of your psyche, conscious or subconscious, about yourself and about the world and about other people. But again, as we know, how we see the world, how we see other people, it is all just a mirror. It is a reflection right back onto us of how we see ourselves, how much we love ourselves, how much we are willing to let ourselves experience, especially when it comes to visibility or trying new things or putting ourselves out there. Think about the example of like the most miserable people that you know probably really don't like themselves. They don't. They probably have a lot of self-judgment. They have a struggle with like a self-worth complex, and they might have been wounded by some event or some person in their past that has made them really bitter and made them scared and made them just want to like lash out at everyone else. That person is judging themselves so hard inside. And because of that, they're judging other people. They are wounded. They feel like they need to expel that onto others to keep themselves safe. It's almost like, this sounds really bad. No, it doesn't. It's almost like the visual of like a wounded animal, or the saying how like, you know, like a wounded animal will always bite you because it's trying to keep itself safe. It's the same thing, just projected on the scale of like societal judgments of other people onto others. So if you ever feel like you're down and out, being judged by other people, or just feel like crap about yourself, take a second to reflect on two things. One, if you're worried about someone else judging you, what about this judgment do I believe is actually true about myself? Like, do I truly believe what they're judging me for? Do I really believe that I'm cringe? Do I believe that I'm awkward and bad at public speaking? Do I believe that I shouldn't be posting online? Like, does any part of you truly believe that? And if the answer is yes, then guess what? That's good news, because that is where you need to start to actually make some effective change in your life and give yourself some freedom to be able to choose what you actively believe about yourself and give yourself some self-love and rewire that. And the same thing, if you find yourself judging someone else for doing something, take it as an opportunity to ask yourself, why am I judging this person? What is this person doing that is making me so uncomfortable? And what does that say about me? Not from a place of self-hatred, I'm a bad person, I shouldn't judge anyone else, blah, blah, blah. But from a place of like, you want to get to a point in life where you are so liberated from other people's judgments and judging yourself that you are just free. You just be happy. You can be blissfully living as your most authentic self without a fucking care in the world about what Susie down the street has to say about you, or what your neighbor thinks, or what your grandma is going to say about you. Like, when any part of your energy is dedicated to someone else's opinion of you, it's automatically obviously not being dedicated to anything that you actually want to focus your energy on. Like, it's completely outside of you. It's completely outside of you. The ideal vision that I have for this beautiful world is for everyone to be living intentionally aligned as their most organic self, focusing their energy on and towards themselves, not from a place of selfishness, not from a place of detachment, but filling their own cup first, worrying about themselves, and finding their own deeper purpose and passion before any concern of what someone else is saying about you or what someone else's judgment is. Who gives a fuck? Can someone else go fulfill your soul's purpose? Can someone else go take the steps necessary in order to get you to a point where you're out of your comfort zone, where you can actually start taking steps to be that person that you want to be? Can someone else do that for you? No, the fuck they can't. Literally only you can do it. Only you can do it. I wish I had a video on this podcast right now, because I think it would be really helpful for you guys to see the hand motions of a mime right now, which is usually me in the background. I wish you could see this. But anyways, like, it's judgment and worrying about the judgments of others is literally just like the biggest fucking energy sucker, biggest energy drain. And yet it's just like a normal thing. Ugh, ew. When you decide, you let me know, when you decide you want to up-level your life, you want to actually honor the version of yourself that you know is living in like your soul's purpose and your dream, and putting yourself on like a higher path than just accepting the status quo of what you think is normal in the life that you were just dealt, right? The fated life versus the destiny life. When you decide you actually want to live the destiny life, you will find one of the first things to go away, randomly talking shit about people for no reason. And I am not talking about a vent. I am not talking about needing to get frustration out. I am talking about like senseless, completely unnecessary judgments of other people, specifically just strangers, or even people who you're quote unquote close with. Like, that fades away. The shit talking fades away. I don't want to just talk shit about people all the time. Like gossiping, having a girls' night, there's a time and a place to do that in some circumstances. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, ew, no. Like, I don't want a girls' night where it's just like, oh my god, did you see what she was wearing? Oh my god, did you, like, ew. Ugh, ew. And if you find yourself in groups where people do that on a regular basis, that's a sign. This is your sign. I'm handing to you. I'm gifting it to you. You know what visual I just saw? It's so stupid. I just saw a visual. You know in Minecraft, when you put down an item by like taking it from your inventory and just like lifting it, like flinging it into the ether, and it just plops down, or hit it. My button was like Q, but you just like throw down a sign. That's literally the visual I just saw. Like, goodbye. But anyways, this is your sign that if you hang around people like that, don't. Remove yourself from the situation. Exit. Leave. Cut the cord of energy drain that is just talking shit about people for no reason and saying random judgments. Ew! Like, literally, it serves absolutely no place in any part of your life that actually will, like, serve a valuable purpose. There is nothing to gain from it. There's nothing to gain from it. It is simply just a reflection of your own insecurities or someone else's insecurities, or you worrying about yourself being judged by other people, therefore you project out onto others. There's like, oh my god. Okay, I hope I'm not being too frazzled and that you guys are actually getting something from this, either shortly after me recording it, or maybe even fucking 5 years from now. I don't know. If you're listening to this years after it was posted, like, please DM me, like, right now. Like, literally DM me right now. I guarantee you it's in the show notes. Like, you need to message me, because, like, I need to know where, who was listening to this. Anyways, a great example of something I judge myself for, or I catch myself judging others for, that is completely a reflection of myself. I can tell you right now, it is worrying about being too needy. When I see someone else being taken care of, like, having someone else do something for them or whatever, my brain for so long has viewed it as just like, no one wants to do that for them. Like, no one actually wants to help them. They're literally just being needy. Like, no one wants to do that. No one actually wants to help you. You're literally just being like a burden and a nuisance to that person. Hello? Like, that is actually such a horrible outlook to have. And yet it's what I was ingrained with, because all I know from my 2 maternal lines from Deutschland who came here during World War II, that has trickled down through every maternal bloodline receiver in my family, is strong, independent women, don't need no man. Like, anyone doing anything for you is pretty much just like a nuisance like you do it yourself. Oh my God. First off, exhausting way to live your life. Second off, it's like me holding that belief of like, I need to do everything on my own or else I'm a burden to someone else. That is the only reason why I ever saw someone else like getting support from someone, getting help, like something, even like chivalrous behavior from a man or something like that. For so long, I saw that as like, they don't actually want to do that. They're just doing that because they feel like they have to. Like, that's just a burden. When that could not be further from the truth. In a lot of circumstances, it could not be further from the truth. And yet, that's what I truly believed for so long. And it still kind of triggers me sometimes when I see someone like really being helped a lot or someone like really being taken care of, because I'm like someone who's capable of doing it themselves, but like someone else is doing it for them, not someone who's being helped who needs to be helped, obviously. But when I see that, like part of me is still like, do they, like that person is literally just being such a burden. But it's not true. Like that is entirely me. That is entirely my own creation of thought that comes from all within myself. So to bring it back to this episode, to the main point, when we worry about other people's judgments, what we're actually doing is judging ourselves. So external judgments being projected onto you can completely mean nothing if you don't actually believe part of what the judgment says. And when you take that and you reflect on it, you start to actually determine where you can find more sense of freedom for yourself by judging yourself less or trying to reframe the thoughts that you have and judgments that you carry towards yourself. That is what unlocks true liberation for you. And on the other side of that is you can have the same kind of reflections, same kind of realizations when you think about why you judge other people. Because anything that you judge someone else for has nothing to do with that person. It's entirely how that person and what they're doing is making you feel and how it's reflecting on your worldview. Oh my God, excuse me, I'm like half burping. Ew. Your worldview and your beliefs. It's all just coming back to you, to the psyche. And especially if you're someone who's experienced a lot of wounding, a lot of trauma or bad experiences with people, and you're super insecure, or like maybe you just don't feel great about yourself, like you putting out your judgments onto other people, that is the first sign that like you gotta show yourself more love. And you gotta take a look in the mirror and reflect on that. Like, why? Ask yourself why. Like, ask from a place of genuine compassion and understand, like wanting to understand yourself better, rather than a place of like shaming yourself into change. Because with all of this stuff, with any change you're making in your life, if you start by shaming yourself, I guarantee you, like, no change is ever going to stick from being like, I am worthless, I must change right now. Like, change has to have an underlying tone of self-love and wanting better from yourself and knowing that you have something bigger meant for you than the life you're currently living, or else it's just not going to have a good foundation to actually establishing healthy change in your life. And if you're someone who's really in the trenches with worrying about other people judging you or being super self-critical, I'm going to need you to get borderline delusional with like almost entering like an alter ego to be like, nope, I'm unavailable for what other people say about me. Like, no, just I'm not available for it. I unsubscribe from worrying about what the fuck else anyone else has to say about me, because I know in my truth that nothing can ever get to me unless I truly believe the things that other people are saying about me. And now that I can actually establish a good sense of self-worth and give myself some introspection and put myself first, I'm kind of immune to what anyone else says about me. This is so much easier said than done, like so much easier said than done, and it takes work, it takes time, and it takes a process, but I sure as hell know that just this perspective can shock the fuck out of ya, because it happened to me, sitting on a fucking Yukon bus in front of the student union, waiting for the red line to stop. Like, I literally, guys, when I read the caption, it was saying how caring about or judging other people is you judging yourself. When I read that, I literally full stopped. I was like, I looked up from my phone, and I just stared, and my face was like, oh, holy shit. It was literally like a, That's So Raven moment of a flashback of being like, oh, fuck. Well, shit. Like, that's really fucking true. And that's ass to hear. Like, that's a horrible thing. I don't want to think about that at all. So I know that it's hard. I know it's hard to stop caring about what other people think of you. Like, I still care, but it doesn't debilitate me. I can still post whatever the fuck I want on stories or my Instagram, my main fucking Instagram account that people from high school followed me on back in the day. Like, I can post on that account, and I'm like, I truly don't give a shit what the fuck else anyone has to say about me. I don't care if people unfollow me. I don't care if someone sends around my videos or some random person from like the depths trenches of my past comes out and has some shit to say about me, or like talks in little groups, or people that I used to know or be close with, or, oh my God, did you see this? Like, I don't care. None of my business. You go handle that with my HR team and not me, because I'm detached from it. It has nothing to do with me, and anything that anyone else says about me, like, entirely has to do with them. I was thinking about this the other day. This is the last thing I'll say. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, am I really at the point where someone could say the most, like, fucking whack, heinous shit about me, and I could just, like, blink at them? And I was like, maybe not fully, but part of me definitely could. Like, someone could say, obviously within reason, like, anything that goes to actual threats or whatever, like, that, you will be hearing from HR with that, and the HR is called 911. But anyways, anything within the scope of just being generally nasty, but like really trying to get at me, I really feel like I have a solid wall of protection from it and resistance where they could say that and it would have no effect on me, or very little effect, especially compared to how I used to be, because I'm very much anchored in knowing that, like, anything that anyone else says about me doesn't actually have anything to do with me. Their negativity can stay entirely with them. They can keep that in their own little corner of the sandbox. Return to sender. I'm not involved. Like, what negativity you're saying, the stuff you're saying about me, that is entirely just a mirror for you. And you know what? I'm grateful for the fact that those people are so triggered by me to say something, you know, in the circumstance that someone's saying something like bad because they're triggered or whatever. I'm grateful for that person to have the opportunity to maybe reflect on themselves and say, wow, why am I so triggered by this? Because if there's anything that you take from this, it is that your triggers are your doorway to growth. And a lot of your triggers are very, very intertwined with what you judge other people for and what you worry that other people will judge you for. And if you look into those, you can start to untether the wires and sort through things and look into your own internal psyche of the subconscious and the conscious mind to understand what thoughts you have about yourself and the beliefs that you carry towards yourself, and actively choose new ones. Choose to show yourself love, compassion, etc., rather than being so harsh on yourself and just constantly in this state of judgment or worrying about judgment, because that is a place that I want no one to be. So I hope this episode opened up your mind a little bit more, or maybe shifted some things in your perspective that gives you just a little bit more of a sense of freedom in your life. Go follow me on Instagram. If you don't, it is Organic Reagan, Reagan, and then obviously organic. But anyways, go be your most organic selves, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. If you got something out of today's episode, I would so deeply appreciate if you left a rating and or a review of the show on either Apple or Spotify to help put this podcast in more people's ears. Follow along with me on my socials, which are tagged below, and I will see you in the next one.